Nelson Mandela, A Life of Struggle and Triumph. Introduction. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, a global icon for peace and justice, was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, political leader, and philanthropist who served as president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. His life story is one of unwavering determination, immense personal sacrifice, and ultimate triumph. Mandela's legacy is etched into the heart of global history as a symbol of resistance against oppression and a beacon for reconciliation and human rights. Early life and education. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in the small village of Mvezo, in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. He belonged to the Thembu royal family, a part of the Xhosa-speaking people. His father, Gadla Henry Mfakanyiswa, was a local chief and counselor to the monarch. Mandela was given the forename Rolihlahla, meaning pulling the branch of a tree, or colloquially, troublemaker. After his father's death when Mandela was 9, he was taken under the guardianship of Yongintaba Dalindyebo, the acting regent of the Thembu people. He attended a Methodist mission school and later enrolled at Heeltown, a Wesleyan secondary school. In 1939, Mandela began his studies at the University College of Fort Hare, a prestigious institution for black South Africans at the time. However, he was expelled for participating in a student protest. Mandela later completed his Bachelor of Arts through the University of South Africa and went on to study law at the University of the Witwatersrand. His legal studies introduced him to a world of ideas and a circle of politically active individuals, both black and white, who were dedicated to fighting apartheid. Entry into politics. Mandela's political journey began in earnest in the 1940s when he joined the African National Congress, TADIASNSU, a political organization dedicated to ending white minority rule. In 1944, alongside Walter Sisulu and Oliver Tambo, Mandela co-founded the ANC Youth League, ANCYL, advocating for a more radical and militant approach against apartheid. Through the ANCYL, Mandela pushed for the ANC to adopt a program of action, which emphasized mass mobilization, strikes, and boycotts. The 1950s were a period of intense political activism for Mandela, culminating in his involvement in the Defiance Campaign in 1952 and the Congress of the People in 1955, which adopted the Freedom Charter, a cornerstone document advocating for a non-racial South Africa. The treason trial and underground resistance, Mandela and 155 others were arrested and charged with treason in 1956. The trial lasted until 1961, ending in acquittal. Despite the legal victory, the trial drained Mandela and his fellow activists. By this time, the apartheid regime had tightened its grip on the country, responding to peaceful protests with brutal force. Following the Sharpeville massacre in 1960, where police killed 69 black protesters, the ANC was banned and Mandela went underground. He co-founded Umkhonto we Sizwe, the ANC's armed wing, advocating sabotage against government infrastructure. This marked a significant shift in Mandela's tactics, from nonviolence to armed resistance, although he remained committed to minimizing loss of life. In 1962, Mandela was arrested and sentenced to 5 years in prison for inciting workers to strike and leaving the country illegally. In 1963, he was tried again in the Rivonia trial, where he and several others were charged with sabotage and attempting to overthrow the government. Facing a possible death sentence, Mandela delivered his famous speech from the dock, stating, "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." Robben Island and life in prison. Mandela was sentenced to life imprisonment and sent to Robben Island, where he would spend 18 of his 27 years in incarceration. Life on Robben Island was harsh. Physical labor in a lime quarry, minimal food, and little contact with the outside world. Despite the brutal conditions, Mandela remained a figure of dignity and leadership, becoming a symbol of resistance even behind bars. Mandela studied, wrote, and mentored young activists in prison. His calm demeanor and principled stance won him the respect of prison guards and inmates alike. Over time, international pressure mounted against the South African government to release Mandela and end apartheid. Global campaigns, including economic sanctions and cultural boycotts, helped isolate the apartheid regime. Release and negotiations in 1990, under mounting internal and external pressure, President F.W. de Klerk lifted the ban on the ANC and announced Mandela's release. Mandela walked free on February 11, 1990, greeted by a world that had long awaited this moment. He emerged not embittered, but committed to reconciliation and peaceful transition. Mandela led negotiations with the apartheid government, which were fraught with tension and violence. He urged calm, unity, and perseverance. These efforts culminated in the dismantling of apartheid laws and the establishment of a new democratic order. Presidency and nation-building. 1994, South Africa held its first multiracial elections, and Nelson Mandela was elected the country's first black president. His presidency marked the beginning of a new chapter for South Africa. Mandela focused on national reconciliation, establishing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC, chaired by Archbishop Desmond Tutu, which aimed to uncover the atrocities committed under apartheid and foster healing. Mandela's leadership style emphasized inclusivity and unity. He appointed a racially diverse cabinet and supported initiatives that bridged cultural divides. Notably, he used the 1995 Rugby World Cup, hosted in South Africa, as a means of uniting the nation. By publicly supporting the mostly white national rugby team, the Springboks, Mandela helped foster a sense of shared identity. Later life and global legacy. Mandela stepped down after one term in 1999, honoring his commitment to democratic principles and setting an example for future leaders. He continued to be an influential global figure, advocating for peace, education, and the fight against HIV/AIDS through the Nelson Mandela Foundation. He received more than 250 honors, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993, which he shared with F.W. de Klerk for their efforts to dismantle apartheid. Mandela became a moral compass for the world, a symbol of resistance to injustice and an advocate for forgiveness and dialogue. Mandela passed away on December 5, 2013, at the age of 95. His death was mourned globally, and his legacy continues to inspire movements for justice and human rights around the world. Nelson Mandela's life was marked by sacrifice, resilience, and profound moral courage. From a rural village to the presidency, from a prisoner to a peacemaker, Mandela embodied the ideals of freedom and equality. His story serves as a powerful reminder that change is possible through persistence, dialogue, and an unshakable commitment to justice. As the world continues to grapple with inequality and division, Mandela's legacy offers both a roadmap and an enduring source of hope. The Freedom Charter, Treason Trial, and Shift Toward Militancy, 1952-1961, the Congress Alliance, and the Freedom Charter. Following the success of the 1952 Defiance Campaign, the ANC sought broader unity among South African resistance groups. This led to the formation of the Congress Alliance, a coalition of organizations including the African National Congress, ANC, the South African Indian Congress, SAIC, the South African Congress of Democrats, SAOD, the Colored People's Congress, and the South African Congress of Trade Unions, SACTU. In 1955, the Alliance convened the Congress of the People in Kliptown. There, 3,000 delegates adopted the Freedom Charter, a visionary document that would become the ideological backbone of the ANC. The Charter declared that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white, directly challenging the foundational principles of apartheid. Mandela, though banned and unable to attend, helped organize the Congress. The Charter called for land redistribution, free and equal education, labor rights, and the end of racial discrimination, ambitions that were considered treasonous by the apartheid government. The 1956 treason trial. In December 1956, police raided homes across the country and arrested 156 activists, including Nelson Mandela, on charges of treason. The treason trial lasted over 4 years and became a defining episode in Mandela's political life. The accused were charged with plotting the violent overthrow of the government and promoting communism. The trial was a grueling ordeal. Mandela and his co-defendants were subjected to constant surveillance and harsh legal conditions. But they used the platform to expose the illegitimacy of apartheid. The trial brought together leaders from diverse racial and political backgrounds, and its lengthy duration allowed the resistance network to solidify across communities. In 1961, all accused were acquitted, but the trial had consumed years of Mandela's life and galvanized his belief that peaceful protest alone would not end apartheid. He began considering alternative strategies. The Sharpeville massacre and the state of emergency a turning point came on March 21, 1960, in the township of Sharpeville, where police opened fire on a peaceful anti-pass protest organized by the rival Pan-Africanist Congress, OPS, killing 69 and wounding 180. The massacre shocked the world and led to mass protests, strikes, and international condemnation of the South African government. In response, the apartheid regime declared a state of emergency, banning both the ANC and PAC. Thousands were arrested, including Mandela. The crackdown marked a chilling escalation of government repression and convinced many activists that peaceful resistance was no longer viable.